The Zoot Suit Riots of June 1943 were a dramatic and violent eruption of racial tensions in Los Angeles, highlighting the deep-seated prejudices that defined much of the United States during World War II. Wartime Los Angeles was a city under immense social and economic strain. The war effort had brought an influx of immigrants, defense workers, and service members to the region, leading to fierce competition for jobs, housing, and public resources. Mexican Americans who had long faced discrimination in the region found themselves marginalized as white Americans dominated many of the higher-paying jobs and received preferential treatment in housing. The presence of black workers, Mexican laborers brought in under the Bracero program, and Japanese Americans newly released from internment camps further heightened racial and ethnic tensions. National security anxieties fueled by the war also intensified hostility, as minorities were often scapegoated for the city's growing pains and perceived disorder. At the center of the riots was the Zoot Suit, a distinctive style of dress that carried profound cultural significance. With its broad-shouldered jackets, exaggeratedly baggy trousers, and flamboyant hats, the Zoot Suit symbolized defiance against societal expectations and rejection of assimilation. For many Mexican-American youths, the Zoot Suit was a way to reclaim visibility and assert their identity in a society that sought to erase it. The style also reflected the Pachuco subculture, which celebrated a unique fusion of Mexican heritage, American urbanism, and a sense of pride in standing apart from mainstream norms. By wearing zoot suits, these youths expressed their refusal to conform to restrictive Juan Crow laws and social practices, challenging the rigid boundaries of race and class. This defiance, however, was viewed as threatening by white society, particularly as wartime rationing made the use of excess fabric seem unpatriotic. The zoot suit became a convenient symbol for scapegoating Mexican-American youths, who were already stigmatized as delinquents and gang members. This negative association was exacerbated by events like the Sleepy Lagoon murder case, where 22-year-old Jose Gallardo Diaz's death was sensationalized to portray Mexican-Americans as inherently violent. The media's framing, combined with the Los Angeles City Council's unfounded claims of a Mexican-American crime wave, laid the groundwork for the violent clashes between servicemen and zoot suiters in June 1943. The riots began on June 3, 1943, when a group of sailors claimed to have been attacked by zoot suiters. Over the next 5 days, bands of servicemen and civilians rampaged through Mexican-American neighborhoods, assaulting anyone who fit their perception of a zoot suiter. The violence was as symbolic as it was physical, with attackers stripping their victims of their zoot suits, burning the garments in public displays, and leaving behind a clear message of dominance. While the riots targeted Mexican-Americans most heavily, other minority groups, including Black and Filipino Americans, were also victims of the mob's wrath. Law enforcement, rather than curbing the violence, often arrested the victims instead of the perpetrators, further entrenching the systemic biases that had fueled the conflict. Wartime tensions, however, were not confined to Los Angeles. The Zoot Suit riots reflected broader patterns of racial unrest seen in other cities like Detroit and Beaumont, Texas, where competition for resources and jobs, combined with the pressures of war, created volatile environments. In Los Angeles, the riots only subsided after military officials declared the city off-limits to servicemen and ordered military police to patrol the streets. Following the violence, Governor Earl Warren's investigative committee concluded that racism was the root cause of the riots, a sentiment echoed by First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, who urged Americans to confront the growing racial issues within the country. The Zoot Suit riots remain a defining moment in American history, offering insight into the racial and social divides that shaped wartime society. Beyond the immediate aftermath, the riots have a lasting legacy as a stark reminder of the destructive power of prejudice and the resilience of marginalized communities. The events of June 1943 underscore the importance of confronting systemic inequities and ensuring that cultural expression is celebrated rather than suppressed. Today, the Zoot Suit stands as a powerful symbol of resistance, identity, and pride, reminding us of the ongoing struggle for justice and equality in the United States. Jose Gallardo Diaz, 1919 to 1942,